There are actors who become famous. There are actors who become stars. And then there are actors who become institutions. Samuel L. Jackson belongs in that last category. Give him a purple lightsaber, and he becomes Mace Windu. Put him in a Marvel movie, and he becomes Nick Fury. Give him a Bible verse and a briefcase, and suddenly he's Jules Winnfield. Put him on a plane, and somehow he makes an entire generation afraid of snakes. But behind the sunglasses, the commanding voice, the sharp suits and the legendary movie moments is a story that is far more complicated than Hollywood glamour. Samuel L. Jackson didn't grow up as the son of a famous actor. He didn't have a Hollywood family opening doors for him. His path to the top was filled with family struggles, racial tensions, addiction, years of theater work, rejection, and plenty of moments when becoming a movie star seemed almost impossible. Yet he kept going. And eventually, the man who once struggled to get noticed became one of the most recognizable actors in the history of cinema. This is the story of Samuel Leroy Jackson. Early life: a boy from Tennessee with a very big future. Samuel Leroy Jackson was born on December 21, 1948, in Washington, D.C. Although he was born in the nation's capital, he was raised primarily in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where he spent most of his childhood. His upbringing was not glamorous. Jackson grew up in a working-class family environment during a period when America was going through enormous social and racial changes. The United States of his childhood was a very different country from the one in which he would eventually become a global superstar. The civil rights movement was transforming the nation. Segregation and racism were still realities for Black Americans. And Jackson was growing up in the South during this turbulent period. Those experiences would eventually become part of the foundation of the man he became. He wasn't simply raised to dream. He was raised to understand that life could be difficult. And that if you wanted something, you might have to fight for it. His parents. Samuel was the only child of Elizabeth Harriet Montgomery and Roy Henry Jackson. His mother was the more consistent presence in his childhood. Elizabeth worked hard to support her family and held several jobs during Samuel's upbringing. She eventually worked as a supplies buyer for a psychiatric institution. Samuel's father, meanwhile, struggled with alcoholism and was largely absent from the family home. His parents' relationship did not provide the conventional family structure many children experience. Jackson therefore spent much of his childhood being raised by his mother and maternal grandparents. That family support became extremely important. His grandparents provided stability, discipline and guidance while his mother worked to make a living. And Jackson has often spoken about the influence his mother had on his life. She wanted him to have an education. She wanted him to have opportunities. And she wanted him to become something more. At the time, nobody could have predicted that the little boy growing up in Tennessee would eventually become one of the biggest stars on the planet. Growing up in the American South, Jackson's childhood was shaped by the realities of growing up Black in the segregated South. He attended schools during a period of enormous change. As the civil rights movement gained momentum, young Samuel was growing up in an environment where questions about race, equality and opportunity were impossible to ignore. Those experiences helped shape his worldview. They also helped develop his confidence and willingness to speak his mind. And that confidence would later become one of his trademarks. Think about the Samuel L. Jackson audiences know today: the posture, the stare, the voice, the confidence, the refusal to back down. Some of that larger-than-life presence was developed through years of life experience long before he became famous. Education. The future actor WHO wanted to study science. One of the most interesting things about Samuel L. Jackson's early life is that acting was not initially his main career plan. He attended Riverside High School in Chattanooga. After high school, he enrolled at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. And his original academic interest was not theater. It was marine biology. Yes, the man who would eventually become Nick Fury originally wanted to pursue science. But college changed the direction of his life. Jackson became involved in theater and discovered that he had a natural talent for performance. Something clicked. The stage gave him an opportunity to express himself. It allowed him to communicate. It allowed him to become different characters. And gradually, acting began to feel less like an extracurricular activity and more like a calling. Eventually, the science career faded into the background. The actor emerged. College and activism. Jackson's time at Morehouse was not simply about academics. It was also a period of political and social awakening. The late 1960s and early 1970s were turbulent years in America. The civil rights movement had transformed the country. Young Black Americans were increasingly demanding equality and greater representation. Jackson became involved in activism while at Morehouse. His involvement became serious enough that he and other students participated in a protest concerning the college's administration. The protest resulted in Jackson being suspended from the school for a period of time. But he eventually returned, and he completed his degree in 1972. That experience would remain an important part of his personal history. Jackson was learning that having a voice could have consequences. But he also learned that silence wasn't always an option. Discovering the stage. After college, Jackson began seriously pursuing acting. He became involved in theater and eventually worked with the Negro Ensemble Company, an important institution that helped provide opportunities for Black actors and playwrights. This period was extremely important. Why? Because Jackson wasn't immediately walking into Hollywood blockbusters. There was no Pulp Fiction. No Star Wars. No Marvel. No massive paycheck. Instead, there were auditions, small roles, stage performances, long hours, and years of building his craft. This is the part of his story many people forget. Samuel L. Jackson became famous late. He had already spent decades working before becoming a mainstream movie star. Meeting LaTanya Richardson. During his time at Morehouse College, Jackson met a woman who would become one of the most important people in his life. Her name was LaTanya Richardson. She was also an aspiring performer. The two connected through their shared interest in theater and acting. And what began as a young relationship eventually became a lifelong partnership. They were not meeting after Samuel became famous. They met when he was still trying to figure out where his life was going. That distinction matters. LaTanya knew Samuel before the world knew Samuel L. Jackson. Before the fame. Before the awards. Before the blockbuster franchises. Before the legendary voice became a global trademark. Marriage, a Hollywood love story that lasted. Samuel L. Jackson and LaTanya Richardson married in 1980. Their marriage has lasted for more than 4 decades. And that is remarkable by any standard, especially in an entertainment industry where relationships are often subjected to enormous pressure. They experienced the difficult years together. They experienced Samuel's professional struggles. They experienced his rise to fame. They experienced his battles with addiction. And they eventually experienced the extraordinary success that followed. LaTanya wasn't simply the wife of a famous actor. She had her own career in theater, television and film. She also became a respected producer. So theirs was not simply a story of a movie star and his supportive spouse. It was a partnership between two people who understood the entertainment industry from the inside. Their daughter, Zoe Jackson. Samuel and LaTanya have one child together, Zoe Jackson. Zoe was born in 1982. Like her parents, she developed an interest in the entertainment industry. She has worked in areas including production and directing. So the Jackson family became a multi-generational entertainment family. But Samuel has never been defined solely by his celebrity status as a father. He and LaTanya have largely kept their family life more private than many Hollywood households. And that privacy helped protect their daughter from some of the intense media attention surrounding Samuel's career. The struggle that almost destroyed his career. Behind Samuel L. Jackson's confident Hollywood persona lies a deeply personal chapter that he has been open about. Addiction. During the early stages of his acting career, Jackson struggled with drug addiction. His substance abuse became increasingly serious. At one point, his addiction threatened his career, his relationships and his future. And then came the moment when he knew he needed help. In 1991, Jackson entered rehabilitation. It became one of the most important turning points in his life. He got sober. He began rebuilding himself. And remarkably, one of the major performances that helped restart his career came shortly afterward. That performance was Gator Purify in Spike Lee's Jungle Fever. The role was painfully close to experiences Jackson understood personally. He played a drug addict with frightening realism. And the performance changed the way Hollywood looked at him. Jungle Fever, the performance that announced his arrival. Spike Lee's Jungle Fever arrived in 1991. Jackson's performance as Gator was intense. He wasn't simply playing a character. He was portraying addiction from a deeply personal perspective. The performance was so powerful that Jackson received the special award for Best Supporting Actor at the Cannes Film Festival. This was a major moment. The man who had spent years working in theater was finally receiving major international recognition. And Jackson's career was about to explode. Working with Spike Lee became an important figure in Jackson's career. Jackson appeared in several of Lee's films, including School Days, Do the Right Thing, Mo, Better Blues, Jungle Fever. These films allowed Jackson to develop his screen presence. He wasn't always the lead, but he had something that filmmakers noticed. When Samuel L. Jackson appeared on screen, you remembered him. That quality would become one of his greatest professional advantages. Pulp Fiction, the role that made him a legend. Then came the role that changed everything. Jules Winnfield. Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction was released in 1994. Jackson played Jules, a professional hitman whose philosophical conversations were almost as intimidating as his gun. The movie became a cultural phenomenon. And Samuel L. Jackson became one of its biggest stars. His performance was magnetic. He could be terrifying one second and strangely funny the next. He could deliver long dialogue without losing the audience. And he had a presence that seemed impossible to ignore. Jackson received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for the role. He also won the BAFTA Award for Best Supporting Actor. Suddenly, the industry understood exactly what it had. Samuel L. Jackson wasn't simply a talented actor. He was a movie star. The voice that became a brand. One of Jackson's greatest weapons was something he didn't need special effects to create. His voice. Deep, rough, commanding, instantly recognizable. He could turn a simple sentence into a memorable movie moment. That voice became part of his identity. But it wasn't just the voice. It was the delivery, the confidence, the rhythm, the facial expressions, the attitude. Samuel L. Jackson could make dialogue sound like it belonged to him. And Hollywood kept giving him opportunities to prove it. Jackie Brown, another Tarantino classic. Jackson reunited with Quentin Tarantino for 1997's Jackie Brown. He played Wardell Robbie, a charismatic but dangerous arms dealer. This was a completely different character from Jules Winnfield. But once again, Jackson dominated the screen. Wardell was charming, funny, manipulative, and terrifying. Jackson demonstrated that he wasn't simply repeating the same performance. He could take the swagger audiences loved and transform it into something darker. Star Wars, Mace Windu enters the galaxy. In the late 1990s, Jackson received an opportunity that would make millions of fans jealous. He joined the Star Wars universe. Jackson played Mace Windu, a senior Jedi Master. He first appeared in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace in 1999. And Jackson didn't just become another Jedi. He became one of the most distinctive. His purple lightsaber immediately made Mace Windu stand apart from other Jedi. Jackson later appeared in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. For a lifelong movie fan, playing a major character in Star Wars was an extraordinary achievement. But Samuel's biggest franchise role might have been even bigger. Nick Fury, The Marvel Era. In 2008, Samuel L. Jackson appeared as Nick Fury in Iron Man. That post-credits scene changed everything. Nick Fury was suddenly standing in Tony Stark's home, talking about something called the Avenger Initiative. At the time, audiences didn't know how enormous the Marvel Cinematic Universe would become. But Jackson would eventually become one of the central connecting figures in it. He appeared as Fury across numerous Marvel productions. He worked with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo and many other major stars. And once again, Jackson had become part of a global cinematic phenomenon. The extraordinary franchise triple. Think about how unusual Samuel L. Jackson's career is. He became Jules Winnfield in Pulp Fiction, Mace Windu in Star Wars, Nick Fury in Marvel. These aren't just ordinary movies. These are three enormous cultural worlds. And Jackson became an important part of all three. Few actors can claim that. His other major films. Jackson's career extends far beyond those three iconic roles. He appeared in films such as A Time to Kill, The Negotiator, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Unbreakable, Coach Carter, Snakes on a Plane, Django Unchained, Kingsman, The Secret Service, The Hateful Eight, Glass, and many others. His versatility is one reason he has remained relevant across multiple generations. Coach Carter, The Mentor. In Coach Carter, Jackson took on a very different role. He played Ken Carter, a high school basketball coach who prioritized discipline and education alongside athletics. The performance demonstrated another side of Jackson. Instead of being the dangerous villain or intimidating action star, he became a mentor. A father figure. A disciplinarian. A man trying to teach young people that talent means little without discipline. The role resonated with audiences because Jackson brought his trademark authority to a character whose power came from demanding better from others. Django Unchained. A darker Samuel L. Jackson. In Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained, Jackson once again showed just how dramatically he could transform. He played Steven, a deeply manipulative and disturbing house servant. It was one of the most uncomfortable performances of his career. Steven was intelligent, observant, manipulative, and morally disturbing. Jackson's performance demonstrated that he could make an audience hate a character while still being fascinated by the actor playing him. His professional longevity. One of the most remarkable things about Samuel L. Jackson isn't simply how successful he became. It's how long he stayed successful. Many actors have one golden period. Jackson has had several. He became a major star in the 1990s. He remained a major blockbuster presence throughout the 2000s. He became a central figure in Marvel during the 2010s. And he continued working into his 70s. That longevity is rare. It requires talent, discipline, adaptability, and the ability to remain relevant as Hollywood changes. Awards and recognition. Jackson has received numerous awards and honors throughout his career. His performance in Pulp Fiction earned him an Academy Award nomination. He won the BAFTA Award for Best Supporting Actor for the same performance. His role in Jungle Fever earned international recognition at Cannes. And in 2022, he received an honorary Academy Award for his extraordinary contribution to cinema. That honorary Oscar was especially significant. It represented recognition not just for one performance, but for an entire career. A career built across decades. A career filled with iconic characters. A career that influenced popular culture around the world. His life outside movies. Despite his enormous fame, Jackson has maintained interests beyond acting. He is known for his love of golf. He has also been involved with charitable causes and organizations. He has used his platform to support education, social causes and various charitable initiatives. And he has continued to work with organizations connected to Morehouse College, the institution that played such an important role in his life. The boy who once needed an opportunity eventually became someone capable of creating opportunities for others. Family and the secret to his long marriage. Hollywood marriages can be complicated. Fame can create pressure. Travel can create distance. Constant media attention can destroy privacy. Yet Samuel L. Jackson and LaTanya Richardson Jackson have remained together for decades. Their relationship survived Samuel's addiction. It survived his career struggles. It survived his transformation into an international celebrity. And it survived the enormous demands of Hollywood. Their story is a reminder that behind many successful people is someone who knew them long before the world did. LaTanya wasn't introduced to Samuel after he became famous. She was there during the struggle. And that makes their relationship particularly meaningful. His daughter and family legacy. Their daughter, Zoe, has pursued her own path in entertainment. That means Samuel's influence extends beyond his own performances. He helped create a family environment where creativity and storytelling were valued. But he also demonstrated something more important. Success doesn't have to erase where you came from. Jackson's career took him from Tennessee to some of the biggest stages in the world. Yet his story remains connected to his roots. The man behind the characters. Samuel L. Jackson has played hundreds of characters. But the public image of Samuel L. Jackson himself has also become almost cinematic. The sunglasses, the suits, the voice, the confidence, the blunt honesty, the sense of humor, the ability to command attention. He has become recognizable even when he isn't acting. That is the definition of a true pop culture icon. Why Samuel L. Jackson is different. There is a reason filmmakers continue to call him. Jackson understands something fundamental about movies. You don't always need the biggest role to become the most memorable person in the film. Sometimes you only need one scene, one speech, one look, one sentence. And Samuel L. Jackson has repeatedly turned those moments into movie history. His legacy. So how should Samuel L. Jackson ultimately be remembered? As an actor? Absolutely. As a blockbuster star? Without question. As one of the most recognizable voices in Hollywood? Definitely. But his greatest legacy may be longevity. He didn't become famous overnight. He spent years developing his craft. He struggled with addiction. He rebuilt his life. He continued working. He took opportunities. He worked with visionary directors. He accepted both leading and supporting roles. And eventually, he became a star whose name alone could help sell a movie. He also helped redefine what an older black actor could achieve in mainstream Hollywood. He showed that a performer could remain powerful and commercially relevant across generations. Samuel L. Jackson's story is unusual because it doesn't really have an ending yet. He's still working, still appearing in major productions, still lending his voice to characters, still entertaining audiences, and still proving that age does not have to mean disappearing from the spotlight. From the streets of Chattanooga, to the stages of New York, to Cannes, to Hollywood, to a galaxy far, far away, to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Samuel L. Jackson's journey has been extraordinary. He wasn't born into Hollywood royalty. He wasn't handed a legendary career. He built it, piece by piece, performance by performance, year after year. And perhaps that's why his story resonates so strongly. Because behind every famous character is a real person who had to fight through real problems. Samuel L. Jackson faced addiction. He faced career uncertainty. He experienced family struggles. He came to acting later than many stars. But he refused to let those obstacles write the final chapter of his life. Instead, he wrote it himself. And what a story it has become. One man, one unmistakable voice, decades of unforgettable characters, and a legacy that Hollywood will be talking about for generations. Samuel L. Jackson didn't simply act in movies. He became part of movie history.